stopped presenting. Okay, we are beginning in the next minute as we wait for Manuel to share his screen. Okay, thank you, Manuel. Let me start recording. If you have issues recording, just do let me know in the chat section. Recording begins. Okay, just a minute. Start recording. Great, I think I'll just get started. So, hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining our Africa Devs on Air meetup on Android 11. So for the past 7 weeks, we have been discussing the changes in Android 11. So what was new on Android 11? And this was varying from the UI all the way through to the privacy changes. And so today we are going to be wrapping up this session, and we will be talking about modern Android app development, the whole history of Android app development, the move from Java to Kotlin and all that, and also some of the changes that we have noted on the IDE. And let's talk about how we move from Eclipse at some point to now everybody is using Android Studio, or at least most people are using Android Studio. A little bit of background about what Africa Devs on Air is. So Africa Devs on Air is basically an initiative to bring African developers together to discuss about different things in the ecosystem. So initially we were talking about maybe how to get noticed or how to get started in being a developer. But for the past 7 weeks, we have been solely focused on the changes in Android 11. This is because there was a beta launch of Android by Google. And so we just thought it fit to bring this out to all developers across. I am your moderator for the day. My name is Alela Eunice. I work as a community manager at Google, and I focus on the Developer Experts program. For those who know the Google Developer Experts program. So it's really important for me to actually be able to interact with expert developers from across Africa who just want to share knowledge on various topics. But most importantly for me today is what they have to share with us about the history of Android. So over to you, Manuel and Omolara. Our speakers for today are Manuel and Omolara. So Manuel is software engineer at Disruption Lab, which is powered by Atlantico. He is from Angola, and amazingly enough, he writes articles for Android in Portuguese. And this is a way of him to localize content to make sure that those who do not understand English, because he says when he started learning Android, most of the articles were in English. So he thought, why not do it in Portuguese? I think that's really, really impressive. And then we are joined by Omolara Adejuwon, a senior Android engineer at Kudi, Nigeria. She has been speaking a lot on Android 11 and recently talked about the privacy changes in Android 11. And so to make this exciting, we are going to be joined by the other speakers at the end of the session, and they'll be able to answer any questions that you have for them. I hope you're able to answer all the questions. Okay, great. Over to you, Manuel. Just remember, turn off your video, turn off your audio. Thank you. Okay. Manuel, over to you.
Thank you, Alel. So the modern Android development. So the point of this presentation is to give the current definition of modern Android development, not just what this phrase means, but more important is what is the thing that we think that Android developers need to do to create better application. To understand the modern Android development, we need to go to the classic Android developer to understand what Android was come from and what is going on Android side. A little bit of Android historical. So the first release came out on 2007, 2017, it was a SDK M3. With the first release coming also the language that was a Java. On the platform side, we are just have a platform. On the tools, we have the Eclipse and the ADT plugin. On the distribution side, we had a APK. And years later, the 1.0 version is releasing. After that, Google spent much year to improve and release new platform API. On 2013, Android Studio also come out, but in this time, Google continues to support also Eclipse. And on 2017, Google released a support to Android Studio. The architecture component also come out, and last year the app bundle come out for better distribution our app. So previously on the language side, we had a Java because they already have developers that already know Java. So it was a good seller point to give the developer the same language that they already use on their project, like a backend or Android or mobile. Sorry. There are also existing tools for build application, existing libraries, pattern, and best practice on Android. There is a automatical way to manage your memory. On the tool side, we had Eclipse plus ADT plugin. ADT stands for Android Developer Tool. It was a plugin that Android built to developers build application on using Eclipse IDE. It was free. There is many developers that already know and work with Eclipse. On the API side, there is just a platform API. There was a new release frequently. Most of the time on the beginning, new functionality was added in every release. Google also spend many time fixing bug on the platform because they already they are releasing a new functionality, so they need also to fix some bugs. We can see the little bit about the historical about platform. The 1.0 version come out on late 2008, and 1.1 come out also a few months later. 1.5, it was a cupcake, I think is, and the other version. We can see in the beginning, Google was releasing on the short of time every version. So I think because it was a new platform, so they needed to release and fix bug every time. So on 2014, a 5.0 come out. It was a lollipop version, and 6, 7, and version 8 also come out on 2017. Version 8 was a Oreo. 9.0 was a Pie, Android Pie, and last year Android 10 also come out, and we expected to have Android 11 this year. On the distribution side, we had a APK. APK basically is a zip file that Google call APK to put together all things on Android and deliver to our users. But what if we want to on APK, if we want to support many language or have many feature on our application, that means we need to have more APKs, or we need to have a one big monolithic APK, and also that means that the user will download a application with a feature maybe they don't will use. Also, we have a class with the classic development. We also have a classic problem. On the language side, we have a Java, still good language, but verbose. That means we need to write a lot of code to maybe to do thing. On the tool side, we had Eclipse ADT and the Eclipse plus ADT plugin. It was difficult to customize. Subtools tended to have inconsistencies on the UI side. The core ID not being improved because there is not was in Google Control. And the API side, we have just a platform. Developers limited by user get release. It means when Google comes to the developer saying, "Hey, developer, we already released a new version. It's coming with new functionality, new things." But Google developer will say to Google, "Yeah, it's good, but our user don't have this release. Maybe you can come 1, 2, or 3 years later when our user also get this release." It's because most users still on old releases. It also was complicated to work with the life cycle, story, navigation, and so on. In the distribution side, we have APK. That was a monolithic APK to handle all possibility, and also many APK. That means a complicated process to distribution our application to the users. The answer is the modern Android development. By modern Android development, we mean tools, APIs, language, and distribution technology recommended by the Android team to help developers be more productive and create better application that runs across billions of users of device. You can choose to adopt or not. There is all optional. You don't need to use all, but in another end, we think you should, because it make your development life better and your application better. So there is 4 ties on the modern Android development: language, tools, APIs, and distribution. And we will cover all in this session. Starts with language. In the language side, we had Kotlin. By Kotlin, we can go to the also historical things about the Kotlin. Kotlin 1.0 was released in 2016, and in 2017, Google on Google I/O, Kotlin was officially supported in the Android for Android development. On Google, last year, Android goes first in Kotlin. Not just it means first because they realize they can do more on the Android platform using Kotlin language. And maybe we can ask, why go to the Kotlin language instead instead Java. We have 4 reasons for that. Because Kotlin is express, it means we can do more with less lines of code. Kotlin is so safely, strong type safety, nullability at the language level. That means we can catch our error on build time and not on the not the runtime. It's better because we can catch error before our users catch from us. Interoperability. It was I think a good seller point from Google. Give the ability to all the developers that already work with Java to work also with the new language side by side with the Java. It means you can migrate all your Google or your Java code on Kotlin from existing project. Structured concurrency, it's also good because we can work more easily with the asynchronous programmer and avoid all callback hell. We can also look at this example. This is a main class who writes the end Kotlin language. We can see the nullability in the system. And the system, as I say, we can catch error before our use catch. For us, we also have a lambda function. We also have the extension function. This is a good point from Kotlin because we can write new things inside the old API. We also have the template expression for formatting for better formatting strings. We also have a property access. That means we don't need to worry about if our field will use will be private, public, and also create public getter and setter to work with our fields. Why Kotlin? Because Kotlin also has speed of development, so much less to write, and the speed of language evolution. We can see constantly Google is improving. Google with and JetBrains was already improving the language and the runtime library. We can see also news APKs come out to write the entirely on Kotlin. Developers seems to like Kotlin so much because according to the Google, 16% of pro developers use Kotlin, and 17 of top apps contain also Kotlin code. There is also many initiatives from Google inside the tools to link Shake, dedicate time compiler inside the Google to work on RA optimization, annotation processing speed, and there is also new annotation come out to work with nullability, like recent nullability and recent non-null. There is also a Kotlin extension library that Google are adding to add a new extension to improve Android API in a compatibility way. We can also see this example to see the power of Kotlin extension. Imagine we want to create a bitmap of a drawable object. We will need to have this bitmap API and also a drawable API, and our code will look like this. we needed to save in the start bounds, create the map drawer into the bitmap also. But Google introduced a new drawable KT. This is a extension function that just you need to do is to pass the width and height, and on our code we'll just we need to just call with a dot to bitmap and pass the width and height. We can see that this extension will do the same thing in the last code, but with less code and much easier to write. On the APIs side, there is many initiatives. Comes like Room to work with database, Paging to work with pagings, and Jetpack Compose, the new UI toolkit for Android, written entirely on Kotlin language. There is so news document, updated sample codes, code labs, courses, articles, and video. There is a playlist on YouTube called Kotlin Vocabulary Series that helps new developers to understand how to work with the Kotlin language. So I'm now passing to the Omolara from the Clara.
Hi, Manuel.
Hi.
Thank you for the insights so far. Yeah, you can stop sharing your screen, so I would share mine. Okay. Okay. Please let me know when you can see my screen.
Yes, Omolara, we can.
Okay, great. All right, so good afternoon, everybody. Nice meeting you again. I mean, it's been a long time coming, so nice to have you on the session again. My name is Omolara Adejuwon, and I'm tuning in from Nigeria. Okay, so Manuel has done a good job talking about Kotlin and how it has come to, help us become better developers, even make our jobs easier as developers. All right, so moving on now, we're talking about Android Studio. Basically, we're talking about tools under modern day Android development. But before I go forward, by show of hands in the chat section, how many people currently use Eclipse? Just drop your hand smiley in the chat section. Let me see. Not me, yeah. So I really want to see if you still use Eclipse. You can own it with your chest. Just be proud. Just drop it in the chat section. Okay, I'll wait for a few seconds. Okay, never, nope. Cool stuff. Oh, Mariam, used it 2 weeks ago. Interesting. Okay. All right, so, Eclipse users are the OGs. Yeah, they are the OGs. But then if you've been doing Android development for that long, that you know what it used to be like, building apps with Eclipse, then you know that Android Studio it's a very welcome development for Android engineers. And I'm very, very happy that majority of people on this call have moved to the bright side of things, that is Android Studio. All right, so let's go straight into it. So Android Studio has come to stay, and it's been here for a very long time. And for someone like me who has been around for that long, I tried my hands on Eclipse. Not like I tried my hands on Eclipse. I've built apps using Eclipse. I knew how bad or how nice, for lack of a better word, it was to build apps using Eclipse. So yeah, so this is me talking about comparing my experience then and what it is now for majority of developers. For new Android devs, you don't know how lucky you are that Android Studio has come to stay, and you should, in fact, if you have to pay Google developers, please drop a token for them because they've done a very great job, especially for also JetBrains developer. So if you don't already know that Android Studio was built on JetBrains, that is the popular IntelliJ. So in those days also, there was IntelliJ. So there was Eclipse, and then there was IntelliJ for Android development. I know some people still use IntelliJ these days because there are Android plugins that you can, add to your IntelliJ that will also help you to build Android apps. But yeah, so Android Studio is actually built on JetBrains. So all the cool features that come with your JetBrains, your favorite JetBrains ID, talking of WebStorm, PHP Storm, IntelliJ, and all that for other people that have experience building backend apps, you have access to these features also using Android Studio. So it has been a fusion of JetBrains developers and then Google making Android Studio up to where it is today. Okay, so we have Android Studio from 2013 till now. So let's see how it has changed so far. So in 2013, Google I/O 13, Android Studio was announced, and then it was welcomed. And over the years, we've seen lots of changes that have happened in terms of plugins, Kotlin support, profilers. We have content layout editor. We have navigation editor. We have view binding. And recently we have motion editor. That is motion layout editor, and we have lots of support in terms of code refactoring, in terms of profiling. That is your CPU profiling, your network profiling, your memory profiling, and all these updates over the years has made Android Studio very, very robust, and it's like home already for Android engineers. So it's like, why would you be using Eclipse these days? So we can see that Android Studio has been enabled to give us so much more just in one ID. We have so much more, and then it's been a saner place. And then comparing Eclipse days, my own personal experience, because I started Android development using a very, very small laptop. I used to use this HP mini laptop, and then it was a struggle installing Eclipse on that laptop and also installing emulators on that laptop. So if you remember very, very well, you know that combining your emulator and your Eclipse was a lot of struggle in those days. So now, Android Studio has just come to resolve all the memory issues. I mean, yeah, but that's not to say that Android Studio still doesn't have some issues here and there. But comparing both worlds now, I know that majority of the people that love themselves will definitely pick Android Studio over any other ID. All right, so modern tools, which is, like I said, Android Studio. So these are the things that we have. So Android Studio offers powerful code refactoring. So in terms of, find usages, you want to see where some parts of your code is being used, the shortcuts to get those things done. You want to remove unused codes. Let's say, for example, you want to probably reduce the size of your app. You want to remove the durables, the files, the assets that are not currently, even the codes that are not currently in use by your app. Android Studio helps you to find the unused codes and even helps you delete them if you grant the permission. Renaming, generally refactoring, it really helps. And also in terms of part of refactoring is also that you can convert your Java code to Kotlin. Android Studio offers that privilege, or rather that support. Also, extensible UI for future tools. Like the UI for Android Studio is so easy that you can always almost find your way around everything. And then that leads me to say that this has also encouraged the people building on top of that. I mean, we've seen several plugins come out from Google and also from JetBrains, even from independent developers like you and I that have built plugins to make other developers' lives very, very easy. All you just need to do right now is just go to plugins and see the available plugins that make your life easy. Talking about Markdown support, talking about Firebase plugin, talking about Crashlytics plugin, like lots of plugins that have made, okay, for example, one of the favorite plugins I currently use is the ADB Wi-Fi plugin that says, before Google announced the debugging your app via Wi-Fi, not using code, I used to use ADB Wi-Fi and I still use ADB Wi-Fi. So, I mean, if Android Studio wasn't in the place where developers can build tools or plugins to make other people's lives easier, I mean, that wouldn't have been possible. So, I mean, over the years, I've had the privilege to run apps on my physical device without having to use USB cord. So it's a welcome improvement on Android Studio. So even the chance alone that developers have to extend Android Studio to build plugins for people to use, it's something that is encouraging and has over the years made all our lives very, very easy. So also tight integration with Kotlin and Gradle. I mean, talking about Eclipse again, if you remember correctly, it was close to hell having to use Gradle at all on Eclipse, like remembering all those things. But Android Studio came, and then the integration with Gradle has been seamless. Though there are still some other instances that you have to actually battle yourself out of Gradle was, but I mean, it has improved. So the tight integration with Kotlin and Gradle has been very, very seamless. For example, when Kotlin was announced and was officially adopted, you could still use your Android Studio to write Kotlin. You didn't have to like start looking for other ideas here and there. So this whole thing, code refactoring. So I mentioned earlier also code refactoring from Java to Kotlin and back, as you know, that integration alone, I don't think you can get it anywhere near Eclipse, right? Yeah. Also, lint checks. For example, you're not supposed to write something this way. There are warnings here and there, or linters here and there that lets you know, or you're making a mistake here. Can you correct it? Like warnings, information. You can even write your own linter. It makes life so easy. What else are we asking for? Yeah, so, and most importantly, integration with existing and new APIs. So we have lots of APIs right now, talking about Jetpack Compose, talking about navigation components, talking about architecture components, and there are lots of APIs that have come out and that will still come out. So ease of integration with Android Studio with these new APIs, it's also very, very seamless. At best, what you need to do is probably just update to Android Studio to have access to these new features, but it's as seamless as just updating your Android Studio. So you don't have to, because I remember vividly, Eclipse, almost every month, there's a new version of Eclipse, from Eclipse Luno, if I remember their names correctly now, Eclipse Luna, Eclipse Juno. I mean, there are lots of variations of Eclipse, and sometimes you wonder which one are you supposed to install to give you what. But Android Studio is just one Android Studio. I mean, and everybody has access to all the cool features that we built up on top of Android Studio. So talking about new APIs, we have navigations, data binding, Room. I mean, for Room, for example, you can easily inspect your database right now. I think it comes with an update to Android Studio. You can inspect your Android Studio. I mean, your Room DB. Like lots of integration that has been built on top of these APIs that you don't have to worry so much about. Excuse me. Yeah. So speaking of tools, I've been able to extensively talk about Android Studio and where it is right now. And if you've not moved already to Android Studio, why it's actually very, very important for you to move to Android Studio. So we're passing it on to Frank right now. That will lead us into game time, and then we'll continue in a minute.
Thank you, Omolara. Thank you, Omolara. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. So hi guys. My name is Frank Tamre. I'm going to take you through. I just wanted to do a simple game, just as as a quick one. So just if you can see the screen, please go to kahoot.it and join with that pin 862,778. I'm waiting for you guys just before we hand it over back there. So I'm just we're going to do a little bit of some questions just to test what you know and what you don't know. So as you join, I think we are 109 on this call. And so I'm seeing one person has joined. So let's see this is like the last one. It's like the final competition that we are having on Android app development. So I want to see if you can test yourself against every other person. Obviously, my name is Frank Tamre, as I said earlier. I am happy to be with you guys. You can switch off your videos and then go to that link there. I'm seeing 14 players have joined. We are 107. I think when we get to around 50 something, we can definitely stop. I'm seeing the names are coming in so fast. Double A, Oleguna. Okay. Or it's Olegana. There's Kenyatta. There's BZB. There is Rico. There's Spongy. Bola is here. MLQ002. Itachi. Denise. Wow, nice. Please come on, keep joining. Vic Kenya. I hope you're from Kenya. Vic Kenya. Sorry.
So whoever gets to be the first one gets to pick somebody from the speakers that we have been having to have a one-on-one session where you can get to ask them anything about Android.
Interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. So Chooks, Taylor Swift. Oh my God, Taylor Swift is here. Wow, she's here. Wait, this is not the actual Taylor Swift, is she? Okay, she's not. I think she's not the actual one. Okay, yeah. Okay, cool. Awesome. Tweet that or tweet hat. Ogamuya, Chiki, Nick is here, Kahoot is here, Mooks, Ben. A few more seconds and we're going to start. I think let's get like 107. So I think we can stop in a few minutes. Okay, so we're 106. That's cool. 63 players have joined. I think we can get to just as a reminder, the winner gets to pick someone from the speaker session to have a one-on-one with them, and you can do an ask me anything with them. Do you need mentorship? I mean, anything obviously related to Android. So we have 64 players, I believe 65. Okay, so since guys are joining, I guess we can stop at 70. Yeah, or even right now. Okay, cool. So I'm seeing Abdi has said is ready. The code is there, 862778, 862278. Go to Kahoot. It's a text-based game, and once I click on start, you'll have 20 seconds to answer the questions, and then we'll see who's the person who's going to win. You test your knowledge against everyone in Africa. I mean, the winner of this thing, you have bragging rights, man. I am your host, Frank Turner. I am joining you from Nairobi, Kenya. I am a wannabe radio presenter. Let me just say that. So if you know anyone who's working in radio, please just give me a heads up. Okay, cool, awesome. So we have 68 players. I think we can start. So you can stretch your fingers for the few seconds, and the rules are simple. The question will appear there. You have 20 seconds to answer. Click on any of the answers that you think make sense, and we can definitely start. Okay, so in 3, 2, 1, I am going to start this. So get ready. Look at the screen. And so question number 1. Question number 1. True or false? Kotlin doesn't work well with Java. Questions, answers. I'm seeing answers are coming in. You have 10 seconds, 9 seconds, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Let's see who's leading. Who's leading as at round 1? Oop. So number. Okay, cool. So far everyone, 42 people. So that's false. Kotlin definitely works well with Java. Next question. So I'm seeing Denise is leading. I guess Denise is the fastest to type. So please be fast. Those margin of difference makes sense. Okay, question number 2. February 2016 was the start of what version of Kotlin? February 2016 was the start of what version of Kotlin? 1.3, 2. answer, Penny. Answer, okay, 0 seconds. Okay, it was the start of version number 1. Actually, this is the month when Kotlin was introduced as at version number 1. And so let's see who's leading as of this moment. So right now, Shakunin is leading. Gerald of Rivia is also number 2. Spongy is number 3. Let's see who's going to be number 1 in the whole of Africa. You cannot submit an Android Studio bug to the Android team. True or false? You cannot submit. You cannot submit. Is that true or false? Cool. So let's see who's leading us at this round. And we have Shakunin is still leading and Gerald of Rivia is still number 2. VAR, it's VAR FC. Okay, let's continue. So current stable Android API level is 10.0 plus 30 R29. You know, when we said we switch off the videos, you know, the problem of having the videos on is we can see the way you're looking at the questions. You're like, wow, I have been gotten now. This one is tricky. Eh? Okay, so it's 30, and let's see who's leading us at that round. James is leading now. Have taken Shakunin. So let's see if Shakunin will recover. Next question. All these are reasons to use Kotlin except safety, boilerplate, structured concurrency, and expressiveness. 35, 38. Be fast also. Instinct. And what is the answer? The correct answer, boilerplate is not the reason why. Actually, boilerplate was removed in Kotlin. And who's leading? Okay, Dims has maintained. Who will be number 1? Google I/O 2017 was when Java became first-class language for Android development. True or false? Good. 2, 1, and 0. Awesome. False. It is not Java. People who answered, I think, thought we were talking about Kotlin. It is Java. Next version. Who's leading? Dims is still leading. Let's see who will come and overtake them. Have 2 more questions. So 7 is what Android Studio version was Kotlin support introduced? When he was doing his session, Manuel talked about it. Click on 1. 4, 3, 2, 1, and version is Android Studio 3.0. Who is leading? Oh, okay. Have a 4 streak. So the last question: what version of Android is Marshmallow? This one is like, that's the one. That's the one, man. That's the one where you get to have extra points. So let's see. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the correct answer is 6. So let's see, who do you think is leading as at this moment? So the podium the person who got 8 out of 9 is Spongy. Spongy, you can say hello on the chat section. Number 2 is your bra, and the winner is Dims. So a round of applause for Dims. Rather special mention to Beat. Yeah, and so please identify yourself. Dims, who's Dims? And who's Dims? Who's Dims? Please introduce yourself. Come on. Last time we looked for the winner and we never found the winner. So who's Dims? Who's Dims? Who's Dims? Who's Dims? Spongy has identified herself. Yobra, who's Yobra? So Dims is officially crowned like the winner of like Africa. He or she got 9 out of 9. I want to be Dims. Oh, Adedimeji. Oh, Adedimeji, you can say hi. So congratulations, by the way. So please get in touch with Alela. I think Alela will probably have seen it, but just say hi to her, and I think you guys will follow it up there. Congratulations, Dims, Spongy, and Yobra. Again, thank you so much for participating. Let me hand this over back to Manuel to continue with the presentation. I hope you guys will get to learn a lot of stuff. And yeah, thank you so much. And I hand this over back to Manuel.
Thank you, Frank, and congratulations, Dims, for the winner. Let me share my screen. Okay. You can see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll continue. In this time, we'll see the on the modern Android development, the API side. On the API side, we had Android Jetpack. Jetpack is a lot of things on Jetpack, but we don't talking about all of them. So historically, we first come out with the constraint layout 1.0. Constraint layout is the good way to build a rich UI on Android Studio. Architecture component to solve the hard problem of Android development, starting with life cycle, then view model, then ROM. ROM, the best way to work with SQLite on Android development. On Google I/O 2018, Jetpack announced paging, navigation, and work manager. And material component also was added on APIs. On Google I/O 2019, Jetpack Compose was announced with also CameraX. What Jetpack Compose is the new toolkit to build Android UI, and the CameraX is to work easily with the camera application. If you work with camera application, I think you should look on CameraX API. And last year, motion layout plus motion editor also come out. Motion layout is to work with animation on Android, and the motion editor is to on more easy way we can powerful create animations for our constraint layout. We can see as a relative layout. If you are Android development, you already know what is relative layout. We can see as relative layout plus plus. We can with constraint layout build amazing UI for our applications, because we can interrelationship between the views, including constraints in to guide the views. Motion layout plus motion editor. We can see motion layout as a subclass of constraint layout to work with animations. We can see on this picture we can create easily animation and see when and where our animation will go. Life cycle, it was a complicated diagram to understand. If you already see that, if you need to understand how your application is going on the state and change, you need to override and implement all these methods. You can see on pause, on destroy, and on stop. On the modern side, we don't need anymore to worry about all these methods. Instead, we have app compact activity and fragment that are life cycle honest. We can get life cycle object and set and observable on it. To observe it, we can implement end of life cycle events, and we can also query the life cycle state of our application. We also have a live data and plus view model basically we can. This is the way we can separate the UI from the data for on our applications. To do that, any element in UI can be registered as observable of live data change. If anything on our data change, that also will change on our UI in easy way. We have also room to work with data on the persistent data and database on our applications. It's also come with Android Jetpack. Android Room also build with inside coroutine. We can avoid it to call and work with coroutine things inside the UI thread with coroutine and all these things. On Room, we can also easily query all data from our database on easy way, and also we have queries and annotation to do with that. But all this thing is built to work together. We also have, I just say, view model, live data, and live sec aware to avoid leaks, updating data from inactive UI element, room to access our database and separate data from our UIs. Rooms also works well with coroutine and the flows to keep data access of our UI thread, the main thread. We also we are assuming also that if you are using coroutine, you are not using RX Java, but it also works fine. In the navigation component, Android Studio also introduced the new template to more easily create navigation application or navigation on our applications. With this template, we easily the Android Studio will create two fragment with two destinations. We can also see all the code behind these views. To navigate from one UI to another, we just need to call the navigate function and pass the ID of our this destination in the easy way. We also have on the navigation args to pass data between our views. Okay, there is also a new advice from Google to all new developers and all developers to work just with one single activity to manage well our UI and our applications on our Android applications. There is also new release comes frequently from Google side new APKs is also in development, like Jetpack Compose to work with the new UI in Android, the HILT for dependent ingestion and version 3. So I will again pass to Omolara to talk about Android app bundles. Omolara?
Manuel, thank you so much. All right. Hi guys again. I'm back. So I'll be sharing my screen now. Okay, so speaking of Android app bundles, so previously when we talk about distribution, we think about APKs, which is the old way of uploading our app to Play Store and then getting people to download and install it. So now you might be wondering, if you've not heard of Android app bundle before now, then I'll be very surprised, because it's been around for a while, since 2018. So it was announced in Google I/O 2018, and it was a welcome. It was also a welcome update from Google. So let's talk about what Android app bundle means and why you should consider it when you are distributing your applications. Okay. So the base for this is that 3 in 10 phones have less than 1 gig of internal free space. So if I know most of us can actually relate, especially when we used to have very low-end devices, and before the likes of Google Pixels and Samsung high-end devices came around. I mean, I know at one point or the other you've experienced, let's say you want to install an app from Play Store, it tells you have low space on your phone, that you should consider removing some videos or some media or uninstalling some apps before you can install. So I'm very sure most of us would have had this experience at one point in time. So this is just us saying that many other users also have very, very small space on their devices. So 3 in 10 phones have less than 1 gig of internal free space. So with this now, explaining why Android app bundles is a better choice when you choose to distribute your app. So also so using the scenario I talked about previously, that on these people's devices, so yeah, they will definitely let your app go if you consume so much storage space in their devices. So you see that many people that have less than 1 gig free space, they tend to uninstall apps very well. Okay, so Android app bundles, this is a new publishing format for the future of Android. So what do I mean? So based on this, again, I would say that the larger your APK, the more likely it is that people will have installation issues. So what do I mean? So going by that example again, so imagine you have a very, very large APK, and then let's say the size is about 50 MB or more, and they're trying to install your app, and then their network breaks. The installation will stop, then they'll have to try again, they have to try again, they have to try again. Especially this part of the world in Africa where people have less access to data and internet. So you have to actually put your users in consideration when you are distributing apps via Play Store. So size is number one thing to consider also when you are distributing your apps, because the smaller your APK, the higher the rate of installations that you would have. Because let's say you have an app that is just 5 MB on Play Store. For them to install it is just about clicking a button, and then before you know it, it's done installing. Compared to having a very, very large APK, say for example 50 MB, 20 MB. I mean, the higher the size of the APK, the lesser the install rate that you would experience that your users would experience. So yeah, this is just also putting this in visual mode. Smaller download equals increased installations. So I've already explained that So now, how does a bundle compare to legacy APKs? So if you know very well how APKs work, so like Manuel mentioned in the beginning of this session, APKs are just like a zipped file. So if you've been curious enough to try to unzip an APK, you will see the kind of folders you have in the APK. Like you have drawable folders, the folders that has to do with even what your device doesn't need. So let me paint a scenario, right? Let's say we are building an application now. Many people are familiar with the drawable folders in Android development. We have the drawable folders for MDPI, for HDPI, for XX HDPI, and we have for lots of device specifications. So I'm going to be using drawables just for everybody who understand what I'm trying to say. So we have different folders like that for different device densities. So in APK, what this means is that when a phone that has the configuration of XHDPI wants to install your app, all these folders, that is even the drawable folders for XXHDPI, for MDPI, everything gets uploaded to Play Store, everything gets downloaded to this person's device. So imagine the kind of legacy APK is talking about. If you look at this animation on the screen very well, on the left-hand side, you see that we have language, we have HDPI, everything. So also, another example, apart from the drawables, is that imagine you are building apps for people in Kenya, people in Nigeria, people in Angola, and all that. So for APK, all the resources needed for Angola will also be downloaded by Kenyans. It will also be downloaded for Nigerians, and they might never get to use these resources in your application. So, I mean, why are we then bothering our users by making them download unnecessary folders that they might never get to use? So then another bundles came around. So what another bundles mean is that Play Store helps you select the folders, the resources that is needed by that device itself. So using the case of XXHDPI, so look at the animation on the right-hand side that talks about dynamic delivery. So dynamic delivery is at the base of Android app bundles. So your user will only get to install the resources that best match that particular device. So now if you look at it very well, you have a device that has, let's say, the language English, and is XHDPI, and it's also ARM 64 bits. So now what dynamic delivery will do is that it will carefully pick the ones that match. Let's say, for example, if you are downloading from Nigeria, for example, let's assume that your app supports localization and you're downloading from Nigeria, let's say English language, which is our official language in Nigeria. It only picks the resources that match English and also picks the drawables, using drawables as examples now. It picks the drawables that match XHDPI and also picks the architecture that says ARM 64 bits. So imagine out of all these small components on the screen, it only needs 3. And those 3 will be carefully selected to be installed on the device. So now we are leaving almost over 10 components behind. So imagine the kind of effect this will have on the size of application that will be installed by your user. So that is, we are saving space, we are saving installation time because they get to install what they need faster, and then they have better experience using your application. Yeah, so I'm hoping that you understand what I've explained so far. All right, so also explaining further what dynamic delivery means. Like I said, dynamic delivery is at the base of Android app bundles. So going more visual, right? We have these shapes on the left-hand side: circle, small circles, square, and triangle. And then you have an Android device that only needs the square and triangle. So Play Store will not bother serving this device with circles. It only gives it the square and the triangle, ignoring the other parts, the other unnecessary parts of your APK. So I mean, it's win-win for everybody, right? And then the good thing about this is that you really do not have to do anything extra. So talking about Android Studio and how it has, it has been built to support all of these new cool APIs. Android Studio just will help you the same way you generate APKs using Android Studio. It's the same way you generate Android app bundles using Android Studio. Like it's the same process, signing and all that. So Play Store takes the effort off your neck. So Play Store is what will decide what combination of resources and folders to install on what device. So you really do not have to do anything. And the amazing thing is that this has been existing for 2 years now, and then it's gaining traction. And then many developers are adopting this. Many games, many apps are adopting this. And then it has really made developers' life easier, users' lives easier. So going further also, so dynamic feature delivery, another nice part of Android app bundles is that, so imagine you have an application that's a particular feature of your app. So I usually like to use WhatsApp because WhatsApp is what everybody can relate with. So imagine the status feature of WhatsApp is not commonly or is not used globally. Let's say it's an optional feature, right? I don't want to have status feature on my own WhatsApp. I don't need it. So imagine that feature is that how's it called? How am I going to put it now? Imagine that feature can be removed from your initial APK. Let's say you only get to install it when I request for it. So let's say, for example, Manuel likes the status feature. I don't like it. And let's say Frank likes it and Eunice doesn't like it. So Eunice and myself, we don't have to install status part of WhatsApp because I don't need it. But Manuel gets to install because he wants it, he uses it. So that means that at installation time, 4 of us, that is myself, Frank, Manuel, and Eunice, we only get to install the base WhatsApp, that is the usual chats and replying to messages, which is the core of WhatsApp, leaving status behind. Then let's say when Manuel has installed the base APK, which is the base chat feature, and then he wants to access status, then he can install just status alone. So that means that initial installation has been done and successful. He has already experienced the core feature of WhatsApp, which is just to chat and reply messages. But he wants the additional feature, which is status. So it can trigger the installation of that feature. And that's where we call, and that's what we call dynamic feature delivery. That is, you can like request for feature on demand. So that means it has really, so it means that for me and Eunice, that we don't need that feature. We don't have to worry ourselves installing. It's saving us our space. It's saving us our time. It's saving us our data. Like we don't have to actually install something that we will never use. So just paint that. I mean, you can look at that picture in your head and see how you can maximize this cool on-demand delivery for your next application. So imagine that you have a particular unique feature that not all of your users will need. You can package that as a dynamic feature and let your users request for that particular feature when they eventually need it. So that means you are saving your people, your users, space and time and data at the initial installation. I hope that makes sense. So with this beautiful stuff I've explained so far, we see that in production we have over 500,000 apps already using Android app bundles. We have 35% of installations on devices already using Android app bundles. And for games also, because games are for games, they use lots of expansion files and lots of resources and all that. It has helped to reduce, many games are now adopting Android app bundles. And really, I don't see any reason why you can't adopt it also, because you don't have to do anything to make that happen, especially for the base, which is just to publish your app. Not talking about the on-demand feature now. For the base, converting your APKs to Android app bundles is as seamless as you signing an APK. So the stress has been taken away from us, and Google has absorbed that stress on our behalf. So I really do not know why you won't want to consider publishing your app as an AAB, which is Android app bundles. Yeah, so far it has, 20% download size savings. So mere just clicking on your Android Studio to say that, give me this app as an AAB, you're already saving almost 20% plus or minus. from the size of your. You can try it when you are done with this session. Just try it. If you've not explored it already, just try it on your Android Studio. When you want to sign, instead of generating APK, just select bundle and compare the size of your APK to the size of what your AAB will look like. And then just that, and then go to Play Store, install that AAB. You see that the size will have greatly reduced because you only be installing what your device needs for successful usage of your app. All right, so let's put all of these things together we said so far. We talked about language, where we talked about Kotlin, we talked about tools, where we talked about Android Studio. Then Manuel took us through APIs, which talked about Jetpack Compose, architecture components, navigation, content layout, motion layouts, and camera, and all those things. And then now, I just finished talking about distribution, which is the Android app bundle. And all these four things have been the foundation for modern Android development. So now, if anybody wants to start building Android apps today, most likely, most of the resources they will find everywhere are the resources that use Kotlin, resources that use Android Studio, resources that use content layout and the likes, and then most importantly, Android and bundles. And I really hope that our session has, giving you an update, or rather reminded you also about how Android has been, and you can look back in time to compare when you started building Android apps to now. You will see that there has been a great improvement, and more is still coming. Over the next few years also, you'll see updates, nice updates and all that. So I hope that we've been able to bring you from the beginning of Android to what we have now. And I really hope that you will maximize our session to start building cool apps, both apps that make your lives easier and also your users' lives easier. You as a developer using Android Studio, using the APIs, the new APIs, using the Kotlin language, and also for your users, make sure that you consider your users in everything you do. So thank you. And I'll be handing to Alex to take over, and we'll be sticking around for questions also. Bye.
Wow. I feel like I have learned so much during this session and through all the previous sessions, all about Android and just getting to know more about the history of Android. So there are a couple of questions to you, Manuel and Omolara. So maybe we'll just get a deep dive into them, then maybe have 5 minutes to just congratulate all the speakers from the previous session. So a question to you is, both of you, how do I determine what is best for whatever I am working on? And how do I keep up with updates in the world of technology and Android development?
Okay, thank you. I think the better way to be updated on the Android world is to one of thing is to subscribe on the Android Devs YouTube channel to get videos update from the Android team. Also, you can see the documentation of the Android development. There is a blog post that all news thing Google also put there. You can also follow Android Dev on the Twitter, or follow also maybe Omolara or other speakers that already will share new content about Android also.
Thank you so much, Manuel. Omolara, do you have anything to top up?
Yeah, I think the question is, how do you keep up, or what did you say?
How do I determine what is best for whatever I'm working on, and how do I keep up with updates?
Okay, so speaking of what is best, so the base of that will be that, I mean, I might sound biased, but if you are building app or a new app today, I would greatly recommend that you start with Kotlin. Like, it's a no-brainer. If you are supposed to choose between Java and Kotlin, please let Kotlin always always win if you can. So now for other technologies, right? I know it can be a little bit overwhelming deciding what to use and what not to use. So let the scope of your app or the context of your app determine that for you. For example, now you hear several buzzwords here around Dagger, Jetpack Compose, and whatnot. Let your app or what the future of your app determine what you want to build. There are some apps that you will need to use all these, new technologies. For example, there are some apps that you might not actually need motion layout, and there are some that you will need motion layout. So it really depends on what you are building and how easy. So I always advocate for tooling. Like whatever tool you use, make sure that you're using the best out of that tool. There's no point using something that you don't know, right? Whatever tool you have chosen to build, whatever you are building, make sure that it's something you know in and out and you can easily fix problems when problems arise. Yeah. So also, how do you keep up with all these things that come? I actually tell my colleagues that Android is one of the most volatile parts of tech. Like, you might be surprised that if you just snooze for 2 months, there are many new things that would have come up, and then you start wondering where you were when all these things were happening. So to keep up, you can subscribe to newsletters like for Android Dev, Kotlin Weekly, Android Weekly. Follow some cool people on Twitter. I mean, articles, and also I want to also pretend like it can be overwhelming. Sometimes it can actually be overwhelming. For example, my own hack to it is that I don't have to try everything at once, right? I can try when I need to try. But I know that I've seen this, for example, Jetpack Compose, being truthful, I've never really had to use Jetpack Compose since it has been announced. I've never tried it out myself, but I know about it because I read blogs that mention it. And I know that there's something called Jetpack Compose. I know what it is doing, but personally, I've not dived into it. So don't let all these things flying around distract you from the main knowledge of Android development. You only get to use these things when you need them. But be close to the community. Don't say because you don't want to learn new things, then you ignore community. Because I mean, no matter how you want to put it, many companies determine the technology they want to use. So if you really want to stay relevant, also in the job market, believe me, I mean, the reason why we are all doing this is because we want to make money. So if you also want to stay relevant in the job market, you have to be close to the changes. Even though you don't have to adopt them immediately, you have to be close to the changes and know why the changes are happening and know why you are adopting what. Yeah, that's for me.
Very impressive feedback from both of you. So I think now that we're talking about Android 11, one of the questions that has popped up is for developers who are maybe working for older versions, like 4.4 and lower, should they stop supporting that or should they just continue doing it?
Okay, I thought Manuel was going to answer. So again, it depends on your market. There are some markets that many users or many Android users in that community, they use very, very low end devices. And it also depends on what your app is doing. Like, for example, how many percent of your users use what version? So you can easily fade out some versions that, let's say, for example, if 2% of your users use 4.0 and 98% of your users use above 6.0, you can easily, I mean, the number isn't significant if you place them side by side. So you can easily do without the 2% if you choose to. So let your market and who you want to support determine this for you before development and even after you have developed. That is Android Studio, when you're about choosing your minimum SDK, and also on Play Store, it lets you analyze the what's it called, analytics of your users, lets you know what versions people use most and all that.
Impressive feedback. Manuel, is there anything you want to add?
No, go to the next question.
Okay, so I think because of time, I'll just jump straight on to acknowledging the good work that both of you have done. I am really thankful to Omolara and Manuel for leading this session, for taking us through modern Android development. it is very impressive to see the effort and time that you have put into this to make this possible. But this would not go without saying thank you so much to all our other amazing speakers. We have been blessed to be joined by 7 amazing developers from across Africa. I think this was a real, a good spread. Juma Alan helped to moderate some of the sessions. Juma Alan is an Android engineer from Kenya. We were also joined by Namini Yonazi, who's a software engineer at Data Vision International, based in Tanzania, sorry. And our game master / other moderator / one of the speakers, Frank Tamre, who's a software engineer at Snap Mobile and also one of the Android 254 organizers, has really been helpful in making this possible. Part of our other speakers were the amazing Hannah Olukoye, who's a software in Safe Border. So the spread was really good, and Smile Iqbal was speaking about the new Android 11 APIs. So if you missed out on any of the sessions before, they're always available on YouTube. I'll just share the link on the chat segment for anybody who wants to watch the content. Not forgetting Roger Taracha, who also spoke on scoped storage in Android 11. So Roger Taracha is a senior software engineer at Premise Data Andela. And it was really impressive to see the changes that were discussed during his session and what is new in Android 11, because the focus of this whole conversation was us understanding the changes in Android 11, what to expect, in Android 11, and also just to get a clear understanding of why Android 11. I have mentioned Omolara, kind of repeated you in my slides. And the wrapping up was done by Manuel Ernesto, who's a software engineer at Distraction Lab, based in Angola. So Manuel walked us through the history of Android, why Kotlin, together with Omolara, and that was the session for today. And I believe that without these 7 amazing people, this would not have been possible. And reason being, they have come up with ideas from different parts of the continent, all coming here to share it with us. It is very impressive to see what has been done during the Africa Devs on Air. And I am just going to thank each and every speaker for the amazing work that they have done. Feel free to follow them on Twitter. Hannah has been posting the links on the chat section. If you have any follow-up questions, do reach out to me on Twitter or on email. For most of you, I had addressed directly on email. Next, we will announce what next, and probably it's going to be about cloud, but we will be announcing what next for Africa Devs on Air. Thank you all for joining, and a few parting shots from maybe the speakers. Jumping straight before Tamre runs away. Tamre, before you run away from the call, maybe you can just say something to anybody who wants to be an Android developer. Also, the top 3 winners, remember to reach out to me. We are going to set up time for a one-on-one, and also time to have an AMA where you'll get to ask any of the speakers that you choose any question. Great. Okay. Tamre, since your session was the first one. Okay, Tamre is on mute. Omolara.
Hi. Okay. What do you want to say?
I have no idea what you're going to say.
What was the question?
No, just say anything that you'd like to say to any Android engineer outside there who's thinking about how to get to where you are or become a better developer.
Well, the base of everything is just that don't stop learning. Don't stop being close to the community. Don't stop reading, because it can get overwhelming. And like I said earlier, it's quite overwhelming also. Quite volatile. Like things change almost every now and then. So get close to the community, get close to newsletters. Good newsletters. I personally subscribe to Kotlin Weekly, Android Weekly, and Pro Android Dev. And there's some other ones out there. So just make sure that you keep learning and don't forget the basis of Android development. Because on top of the basis, what all these new APIs are built on. So you need a strong knowledge of Android development itself before you can start considering the buzzwords and the new APIs coming around. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Omolara. Hannah?
So my parting shot is just to thank everyone for joining this call. It wouldn't have been the same if any of you wasn't in the call. So I'm really grateful to say that there are people who are interested in listening and learning. And I'm also happy to say that I know people will be able to implement all that we've been talking about in this call. And we are available for reach on Twitter. Just reach out and we help where we can.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Juma, one of the moderators, as a young African developer. And this was unexpected for you.
Yeah, that was a surprise actually. So just so what Omolara said, I mean, never stop learning and keep learning. Yeah, so that's it.
Okay, thank you. We'll wrap it up with Manuel because I'm seeing Smiley is not on the call. So Manuel, parting shot from you.
Okay, thank you again all to be here on this last session about Android meetups. So as Omolara said, don't stop learning and find the community near near you. And yes, see you maybe on the next meetup.
Thank you so much, Manuel. Thank you so much to all the other speakers. On behalf of those who are not here, I would like to say thank you all for joining. You are going to find the live stream on YouTube. I have shared the link, courtesy of Wayne Gakuo. Wayne, do you have something to say?
Well, funny thing is, I also started in Android before moving to web, so it was more of like a refresher course type of thing. And at the same time, I got to learn a lot of things that are new in Android and all. But yeah, I'd like to say a big thank you to everyone who has been joining us and also subscribing to the YouTube channel where they can always get this content whenever they need to. Yeah, and thank you for this opportunity.
Okay, so thank you so much, Wayne. Thank you all for joining and hope to see you in other future interactions. If you are on the GADS channel, we can communicate from there. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me or any of the speakers if it's with regard to a specific topic. Thank you all and goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.